into their homes, and as we manage to move off the main roads, then of course more and more of these things will come to light. There's a lot of rumour. There are, you're absolutely right, a number of sites that have been discovered, and clearly these are being cordoned off and evidence being passed to the international tribunal responsible for these matters.
The smell of desperation bordering on panic. Serbs fleeing Pristina. The few buses going north to Serbia were besieged and families split up. And in direct contrast to the enforced exodus of Albanians by rail south to Macedonia in the past 2 months, the Serbs are now trying to find northbound trains. And a few hundred yards from the station, an example this afternoon of the random violence. Lying next to his car, a young man. The parachute regiment's quick reaction force went in.
Stop the traffic down there!
He'd been shot while driving in from a western suburb.
Shooters come from that direction down that way, mate, okay? So what were you doing? 2 shots in the back of the car.
The street emptied.
Right, look out now, stop
Eyewitnesses
looking.
vanished. Who is shooting who at this dangerous time?
Get our wagon round here.
The young man had taken a bullet in the stomach. He was still conscious as we tried to sort him out. I got him to tell me his name. Ahmed Hamdi, an Albanian. Not in uniform, on an errand into town, but driving a car with Serbian number plates. We couldn't understand why he became frantic when the ambulance arrived, hanging on to us, insisting we go with him. At the hospital, it was obvious why. The medical staff were all Serb. Yesterday, they'd had to be cajoled into staying by NATO. Presented with an Albanian casualty, they showed minimum interest. The paras sent in their own people to ensure proper treatment. But how to reassure people? General Mike Jackson, the force commander, has been leading the effort.
The world has too many refugees already. I beg you not to make the number any greater. Stay at home. We will look after you.
But there are already large swathes of Kosovo bereft of Serbs. Some soldiers remain, waiting for transport out. But why don't ordinary Serbs trust NATO?
They are on the Albanian side, so they will not protect the Serbs.
And incoming fire from Albanian fighters does not help matters. The unhappy term ethnic cleansing has been heard time and again in this region. And if you understand it to mean people being forced to leave their homes because of fear, then it's going on here now, and it's very difficult to stop. Fear is infectious, and NATO is hard put to curb it. Kate Adey, BBC News, Pristina.
Another
In the field for several weeks now, and it's really been quite a remarkable sight to see them just walk into the lobby of the hotel here, a place which until just a couple of days ago would be regarded as definitely a no-go area for anybody even associated with the Kosovo Liberation Army. The 2 people who've walked in are Mehmet Murray, who's from New York, an ethnic Albanian who's come back to fight here, and Alan Murray, who's from Hastings in the United Kingdom. Kelly. So, Mehmet, tell me what the last few weeks have been like.
Oh, terrible. Been in the mountains and all over in the towns and fighting. Just fight every night, day and night, without sleep, wet, cold, all that.
Alan, it's been a tough fight. What sort of impressions do you have about the last couple of weeks?
The courage of the people I've been with, most of whom have never had an experience like this. They've come from all over the world, basically. Met people from Australia, all over Europe, and they all fought with courage, and we got through it. It's good.
Is there a great sense of celebration now that the KLA appears to have achieved its aims?
I think so. We're all pretty tired at the moment. Next couple of days, yeah, definitely.
Mehmet, what about you? What are your thoughts at this point? You've walked into Pristina, a day perhaps you thought you'd never see.
Very happy. I hadn't been here for 8 years. Very happy.
Tell me why you came here. You had another life. You were in New York. Why did you come back to fight?
Well, I seen all these things happen, women and children and getting killed every day. I couldn't stand there no more. Just had to come.
What about you, Alan? I mean, you're not directly involved. Some people would call you a mercenary. Why did you get involved in this way?
Right. Well, first of all, I'm not a mercenary. I get cigarettes every other day and I get fed, and that is it. I don't even own the clothes I stand up in. But yeah, I saw everything on the television. I knew a little bit over the last couple of years. And I thought, no, I must go and do something if I can. I didn't expect to be fighting in the front line, but that's how it worked out. I'm glad I did, and I'm proud to have been with these guys. They're fantastic.
What do you think will happen now to you and the other international people who've come to fight here? Will you go home or will you stay on?
I will stay here another couple of weeks, see around, and I will go back home. I left my job and all my things there.
Big question now is whether or not the KLA should disarm. The international community obviously thinks it's time for the Kosovo Liberation Army to give up its weapons. Any thoughts about that?
Well, we gave ours up this afternoon. We gave them up to Royal Irish Regiment. I'm not getting into politics, that's for other people, but our fighting's over for now, so that's it. Okay. I didn't want it anymore.
Thanks very much indeed. That's the view of Kosovo Liberation Army fighters who've been in the field fighting for the last several months. And with that, back to you in the studio.
Rolle zu spielen, wer ihre Stadt befreit hat. Den Soldaten der deutschen Bundeswehr jubeln sie genauso zu wie den Kämpfern der Kosovo-Befreiungsarmee UÇK. Die Männer der UÇK in ihren Fantasieuniformen, das wird sehr schnell deutlich, fühlen sich als die Herren des Landes. Wenn man sie fragt, wer den Kosovo befreit hat und wer ihn kontrolliert, so sind das eindeutig UÇK-Truppen. Für ein Interview ließen die Freiheitskämpfer das Kamerateam der Deutschen Welle 2,5 Stunden im Regen warten und sagten dann kurzerhand ab. Bei der Bundeswehr weiß man, dass eine direkte Konfrontation mit der UÇK gefährlich für den ohnehin noch labilen Frieden wäre. Darüber, was mit den Kämpfern der Befreiungsarmee in Zukunft passieren soll, herrscht noch Unklarheit.
Zur Rolle der UÇK kann ich Ihnen nichts Definitives sagen. Es gibt die unterschiedlichsten Aussagen. Es gibt die UNO-Resolution und da ist die wesentliche Aussage demilitarisieren. Aber ich sage nochmal, demilitarisieren ist nicht entwaffnen oder nicht zwangsläufig entwaffnen. Und es steht drin in der Nummer 15 der UNO-Resolution, dass hierzu ein Vertrag oder die Bedingungen ausgehandelt werden müssen. Die sind aber noch nicht unterschrieben.
Eines steht fest, die Soldaten der deutschen Bundeswehr, die rund um die Uhr im deutschen Sektor im Südwesten des Kosovo Patrouillen fahren, haben bisher keine rechtliche Handhabe, die UÇK zu entwaffnen. Lediglich, wenn andere Menschen von einzelnen Freiheitskämpfern bedroht werden, so heißt es, können diese zur Herausgabe der Waffe gezwungen werden.
Ich war bisher an der Grenze eingesetzt und dort haben wir dann die UÇK davon überzeugt, dass wir jetzt die Kontrolle über die Grenze haben, was auch recht problemlos gelang. War eigentlich sehr kooperativ.
Erhebliche Angst vor der Zukunft hat sicher der serbische Teil der Bevölkerung Präsenz. Fast alle der Serben hier haben mit Rückkehr der Kosovo-Albaner ihre Sachen gepackt, um von Bundeswehrfahrzeugen begleitet das Land zu verlassen.
Auf offener Straße, schwer bewaffnet in Kampfmontur. Soldaten der Untergrundarmee UÇK. In Prizren führen sie sich wie eine Schutzmacht auf. Voller Selbstbewusstsein nicht nur die Soldaten, sondern auch der Gebietskommandant, der sich selber Drini nennt. Die Stadt, verkündet er stolz, sei jetzt zu 100% in ihrer Hand. Das soll ein Beispiel für das gesamte Kosovo werden. Prizren ist die erste Stadt, die unter Kontrolle der UÇK gekommen ist. Bisher ist alles hervorragend gelaufen. Was für die UÇK schon geregelt scheint, wird für die KFOR ein immer größeres Problem. Die UÇK, so der Vorwurf, gefährdet die Sicherheit im Kosovo. In Pristina sollen Serben von Untergrundkämpfern erschossen worden sein. Wir glauben, so dieser britische Offizier, dass es bereits zu 1 oder 2 Vorfällen gekommen ist. Wir klären gerade die Details. Bisher fehlt der KFOR jedoch das Mandat für die Entwaffnung der UÇK. Bei den schwierigen Verhandlungen mit den Serben in Kumanovo hat die Untergrundtruppe keine Rolle gespielt. Anders noch der Friedensplan von Rambouillet. Er sah ausdrücklich die Entwaffnung der UÇK-Kämpfer vor. Dieser Plan wurde jedoch mit Beginn der NATO-Luftschläge abgeschwächt. In der Resolution der UNO zum Kosovo heißt es dann eher vage: Entmilitarisierung der Befreiungsarmee Kosovos, UÇK und anderer bewaffneter kosovo-albanischer Gruppen. Wie das geschehen soll, darüber wird zurzeit verhandelt. Um die Gewaltspirale endgültig zu stoppen, drängt der Bundesaußenminister dabei auf die Entwaffnung der UÇK.
Ziel ist es, den Kosovo zu demokratisieren, ihn für alle Bürgerinnen und Bürger gleich, welcher ethnischen Herkunft.
Jetzt ihren Weg von der militärischen zur politischen Rolle finden. Denn auch er weiß, eine bewaffnete Truppe neben der KFOR kann den Friedensprozess im Kosovo ernsthaft gefährden.
Die Situation an den Grenzen sowohl in Mazedonien als auch in Albanien ins Kosovo hinein waren zunächst chaotisch. Von Kukiš in Albanien bis nach Prizren stauten sich die Autos, Traktoren und Minibusse auf 55 Kilometern Länge. Der Andrang auf den Straßen konnte zunächst nur sehr langsam von
Helsinki-dommen staan. Britse KFOR-tanks rolden het noordelijk deel van Kosovo binnen. Voor de NAVO ging daarmee opnieuw een belangrijke fase in. De Britten hebben Podojevo bereikt, zo'n 40 kilometer ten noorden van de Kosovaarse hoofdstad Pristina. Veel etnisch Albanese burgers konden amper geloven dat ze werden bevrijd. De sporen van de gevechten in de buurt van Podojevo zijn nog steeds vers. Servische troepen zijn nog altijd in de buurt. Komende zondag pas moeten ze Kosovo hebben verlaten. De KFOR-troepen willen koste wat kost voorkomen dat Serviërs en Albanese elkaar aanvliegen.
We're going to deploy our forces throughout the area so that any attack by either community upon each other can be stopped by our forces.
Het Kosovo-bevrijdingsleger, het UÇK, blijft immens populair onder de Albanezen. Maar er sijpelen ook berichten door dat het UÇK zich schuldig heeft gemaakt aan wraakacties. In Prizren zijn Duitse KFOR-militairen gestuit op een politiebureau waar 15 mannen werden vastgehouden door UÇK-strijders. Ze zijn zwaar mishandeld. Volgens het UÇK gaat het om gevangenen, maar buurtbewoners zeggen dat het om Albanese collaborateurs gaat. Alle 25 UÇK'ers zijn ontwapend. In Prizren mag vanaf middernacht sowieso geen enkele UÇK-strijder nog met wapens rondlopen. Dat zijn het UÇK en KFOR vandaag overeengekomen. De hoeveelheid gruwelijke ontdekkingen blijft groot. Hier in het Drenica-gebied, vlakbij deze gebombardeerde fabriek, zijn 66 lichamen gevonden. Hier zouden Serviërs Albanese mannen hebben gemarteld en vermoord.
This decision certainly puts in place an acceptable, more than acceptable infrastructure, considerably different, I might add, to the one that was originally put in place to support the tribunal's activity in Bosnia. So the decision by the NAC today takes a considerably more, explicitly considerably more proactive stance in supporting the efforts of the tribunal.
Muziekschool in Pristina. Door de Serviërs werd het gebruikt als politiebureau. Maar het was geen gewoon politiebureau. In de kelders van het gebouw zijn folterkamers gevonden met het meest gruwelijke marteltuig. In een kist liggen messen en boksbeugels. Op de grond een bijl, zwaard en knuppels, grote en kleine. De kleinere exemplaren hebben de lugubere naam mini-bingo gekregen. De kleding van sommige slachtoffers ligt er nog. Hier zijn mannen, vrouwen en zelfs kinderen gemarteld. Albanezen werden te pas en te onpas opgepakt.
Këtu në kanë pru 6 orë në kanë majtë, 4 orë e 30 minuta me dur mbrapa kokën në kanë majtë këto, dhe në kanë ofendue, në kanë thonë fjalë më të dyta që mundën me shpreh, ata kanë folë ndaj nesh, duke na thonë se ju po doni që natëja juve t'ju bëjën shtetin, për shtet ju duhet me përgjak, duhet me dhe gjak shumë për me fitua shtetin e ju.
Teddy Saduku werd ook opgepakt in het holst van de nacht.
Pas që kemi shku në stacionin e policisë, aty kanë filluar pastaj maltretimet, rrahjet, ku se ndonjëri prej njerëzve aty merrej edhe qitet për tjerëve, edhe rrahej kështu prej policëve, një pastaj vishin 2 me një herë dhe kështu, ka vazhdu deri në orën 8. Duhet i mbalim lart.
Een paar weken geleden werd er wel eens getwijfeld aan het waarheidsgehalte van de verhalen van de vluchtelingen. Nu Kosovo eenmaal toegankelijk is voor KFOR en voor hulporganisaties, lijkt het allemaal nog veel erger dan gedacht. Het UÇK helpt KFOR bij het verzamelen van bewijs van misdaden door Servische militairen. Elke dag komen Albanezen hier vertellen wat ze hebben meegemaakt. Maar er is ook een andere kant. Deze Albanese vrouw vraagt elke dag wat het UCK met haar man heeft gedaan. De kans dat haar man nog leeft is klein. Het UCK heeft hem waarschijnlijk verdacht van samenwerking met het Servische leger.
NATO now has a presence in every major town. A boggling fact to the previously supreme soldiers from Belgrade, it's dawning on the dimmest that they have to go. While some are raging mad about it, making familiar but rather foolish gestures when there's a British warrior on their tail. No wonder the Albanians found it all a bit too much. Homes destroyed, relatives missing, and people having to bury the victims of executions secretly at night, as in nearby Sekiracha. 2 young men shot, 1 beheaded, their neighbours furtively digging them a grave in a cornfield. Another grave for the unknown elderly man with 3 bullets to the head who was washed along their river. They can begin to tell their stories now. Their Serb neighbours are running away, and the Serb army, NATO predicts, will be gone by Sunday.
The Serbs are leaving behind a land that is red, where friction and instability are rife. NATO is here for the moment to calm things down and try and reassure people until someone can work out who's going to pick up the pieces and where the future of this land lies. Kate Haley, BBC News, Horeyevo in Kosovo.
The talks in Helsinki are well into their 3rd day, and there are conflicting reports on how far the 2 sides are from reaching an agreement. It had been reported from NATO sources that Russian troops would be attached to French, German and British NATO contingents. But the White House says no deal has been reached on how Russian troops will work with the Kosovo peacekeeping force. Any agreement would certainly ease matters for President Clinton and his fellow G8 leaders in Cologne this weekend. Kosovo has come to dominate the summit when there are other vital economic matters for discussion. As they arrived, G8 leaders said they wanted to look ahead to the reconstruction of Kosovo and an aid package to all of the Balkans.
Our job is to make sure that the promises we made to them during the course of the conflict we now honour post-conflict.
I think all of this will more or less balance out. We paid for most of the air campaign, but we're only providing 15% of the troops to KFOR. So Europe's paying for most of that.
But with Russian troops still in control of much of Pristina airport, it's clear there are still more pressing concerns for the G8 should an agreement not emerge tonight. A number of solutions have been put forward to bridge the differences between NATO and Moscow. One idea put forward today by a German newspaper is for joint alternating control of the German sector. Janet Barry, BBC News.
A frantic wife comforts her husband. An Albanian tortured by the Kosovo Liberation Army on suspicion of looting. German troops disarmed a KLA detachment and discovered several badly beaten Albanian men when they took over Prizren police station from the KLA, and a 70-year-old, dead, chained to a chair. The Serbs of Orahovac, a town close by, are not convinced by NATO's attempts to show it will stop all violence. They're packed and ready to run, terrified of Albanian revenge squads. Katerina Simic, a Serb, asked us to help get her relatives out of a flat in what's now the Albanian part of town. They were ready in a couple of minutes, leaving almost everything they own. He grabbed his cigarettes. Pull yourself together, Katerina told her aunt. Their Albanian neighbours, saying goodbye, insisted that if these Serbs were villains, they'd have left days ago. They were in such a hurry, they didn't even turn the radio off. This family, the Simiches, have been here in their flat for 3 days, too scared to go out. They say the neighbours are friendly, but they're very worried about the KLA, who they think are kidnapping Serbs and might even want to kill them. They calmed down a little once the Albanian crowd parted to let us back into what's become the Serb ghetto. By then, German troops were escorting Serbs to their homes so they could pack. It looks as if NATO's attempts at reassurance are too little, too late. Jeremy Bowen, BBC News, Arahavat.
1-1 i campi di Kukës chiudono i battenti. Si smontano le tende, i rifugiati se ne vanno e con loro se ne vanno anche militari, organizzazioni non governative, giornalisti. Questo paese, sperduto tra le montagne albanesi, torna terra di nessuno. E intorno ai campi si apre la caccia. Caccia alle tende, alle coperte, alle provviste. Profughi e abitanti della zona cercano di arraffare quello che possono. Davanti ai nostri occhi il responsabile del campo dei Medici Senza Frontiere caccia via un tizio che sta portando via un mucchio di pezzi di legno. Questo è il campo dei medici tedeschi di Kapanamur, 6.000 persone lunedì scorso. Oggi c'è solo un vecchietto che con 3 bambini fruga tra i rifiuti. C'è chi ruba e chi fa affari. Un passaggio in pulmino da Kukës a Prizren costa 100 marchi a persona. La maggior parte dei profughi non ha mezzi di trasporto e l'Alto Commissariato ONU per i rifugiati organizzerà convogli gratuiti, ma solo dal 1° luglio. Per adesso il Kosovo non è sicuro. L'UNICEF distribuisce a tutti i profughi che si avviano per la strada verso Morini volantini sul pericolo mine. A rischio sono soprattutto i bambini. Tutta la zona è piena di trappole esplosive. Ieri sera un guerrigliero dell'UCK è stato portato all'ospedale di Kukës 1. Stava ispezionando un villaggio, ha visto un cavo sospetto. Ha fatto un passo indietro, ma la vera mina era dietro di lui. I medici della Croce Rossa italiana hanno dovuto amputargli un piede.
Mladenovac, 30 miles south of Belgrade, turning over its sports centre to house 100 displaced families, hungry after 5 days on the road and bringing little beyond the clothes they wore.
We were given an hour to pack up and go. Our own authorities said if we stayed beyond that, it was at our own risk, as the whole village was surrounded by KLA.
Nobody knows how many nights they'll spend in halls like this, or if they'll ever feel safe enough to sleep under their own roofs again. And while some may sense rough justice in this, the Serbs, tasting the same bitter medicine served to their Albanian neighbours, they of course see it differently. Small farmers for the most part, they say they're victims of a conflict that was not of their making, but which has replaced a lifestyle they've known for generations with a very uncertain future. Jeff Mead, Sky News, Central Serbia.
British tanks rolled into northern Kosovo today to a tumultuous welcome from the population of Porajevo. They came face to face with Serb troops who have until Sunday to vacate the area. Sky's Keith Graves travelled with them.
The armoured battle group went in early and fast and in strength to secure the main road from Kosovo to Serbia, codenamed Route Snake. They sped through the wasted countryside, past evidence of the final orgy of destruction by the retreating Serbs. They reached their target, the town of Porajevo, a couple of miles from the border with Serbia, with only a few rounds of small arms fire directed at them, and entered a ghost town. 40,000 mainly ethnic Albanians lived here before it became a stronghold of the Serb forces, official and irregulars. In a pincer movement from both ends of the town, the armed column, with only a few surprised-looking Yugoslav army soldiers, who have to be out of here by Sunday night looking on, had taken control within minutes. Porajevo has been wasted by the Serbs. No building has escaped their attention, and the town appeared to have been deserted by all its inhabitants. But within minutes of the NATO forces arriving, ecstatic civilians appeared as out of nowhere. It was for them the liberation of their town by a conquering army.
What's it been like living here for the past few months?
Like in the hell. The locals had obviously been waiting for this moment and preparing for it. Amidst the joy, though, some tense moments. The Albanians wanted to move on the Serb military headquarters, still manned by regular soldiers. British soldiers had to intervene as the Serbs, understandably edgy and probably frightened, threatened to open fire. Serb military vehicles trying to escape the town found their way blocked by crowds and NATO armour. In the end, NATO soldiers had to order the crowds to go home before it got out of hand.
There is, though, another side to this story. Attacks against Serbs by the newly liberated ethnic Albanians have already started.
The Serbs, it seemed, couldn't wait to get out of a place where, until a few hours before, they'd been feared and detested. Now the fear was gone. Once the streets had been cleared, they left town with even more haste than NATO had entered it a few hours before, once again leaving their mark. But that, for the Albanians, was, after what they've already been through, a small price to pay for freedom. Keith Graves, Sky News, Porajevo.
hour, a deal was signed by American and Russian ministers, which means Russian troops will serve alongside NATO soldiers. Judith Dawson reports from the meeting of G8 leaders in Cologne.
For the first time in public, President Clinton allowed himself to enjoy other people's happiness at the liberation of Kosovo. He said that what had been discovered was a complete vindication of the bombing campaign and expressed his abhorrence at the evidence of carnage and inhumanity that's been uncovered.
It is a worse truth than we had dared dream of and we had hoped we would find, eerily reminiscent of what happened in Bosnia. But at least we acted more quickly here. We have reversed it, and I think that's the important principle.
The American president and British Prime Minister had their first face-to-face meeting since the bombing ended. The challenge now is to rebuild the region. America shouldered the weight of the military campaign. It's up to Europe to provide for the reconstruction.
I agree entirely with what the president has said. And do understand, you've got to balance this out, as he was saying, across a whole range of issues. America has provided enormous help, and indeed the bulk of the help and the costs in terms of the military action. We acknowledge our responsibility in relation to reconstruction.
And on the military front, Russia's Prime Minister Stepashin confirmed in his meeting with Mr. Blair that it was in everyone's interest for Russian troops in Kosovo to be deployed under a unified chain of command. All the same, the West's relations with Russia remain a little edgy, even though they're pledged to work together to secure the peace in Kosovo and rebuild the region. Their partnership can only be an unequal one. Judith Dawson, Sky News, Cologne.
Meets two fundamental requirements. It preserves the unity of command necessary to make KFOR an effective military force, and it gives Russia a unique role by providing for operations of Russian forces within KFOR sectors run by the United States, France, and Germany. In addition, we have agreed on a plan to open the Pristina airport to all KFOR nations and on arrangements for operation of the airfield once this agreement is approved by NATO's North Atlantic Council.
Well, with us now from the Kosovan capital Pristina is our reporter Andrew Wilson. Andrew, it looks at last as though the problem of what to do with the Russians has been solved.
Yes, it has. I think this was an inevitable conclusion. The Russians came early. They took the airport straight away because they didn't want to be left out of the KFOR operation. They suspected, perhaps quite fairly, that if they did come as a Johnny-come-lately, they'd probably end up only getting the titbits of the operation. As it is